प्रेम से बोलो उमापति महादेव की जय। Everybody, let's all stand as we begin this morning with our evening mantras. Please close your hands, clasp your eyes, clasp your eyes and close your eyes. Sajam Javarti Sanyuktam Grahina Yojitam Deepam Grihana Devesham Trilokya Hare Shiva Brahma Vishnu Sadashiva Ardhangi Dara Jai Shiva Eka Ahibhushana Shiva Gaurinath Paramasumangala Kashinadho Paramasumangala Kashinath Girijaranga Girijaranga Paramananda
सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये
Sharanye Narayani Guru Brahma Guru Deva Guru Sakshat Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Namah Shivaya. Everybody. Those of you on Om Namah Shivaya. Everybody, please have a seat. Make yourself comfortable. This morning we want to welcome everybody as we sit down. As we get set to do our third session of Shiv Puran Gyan Yagna. We have been reading from the second Khan, the Satarudra, the second volume of Shiv Puran. The first night we did the history, just to recap, the history of that bull that is supposed to be in front of the runoff of your lingam. We spoke about where he comes from, how he was born, his history, how is he called Nandi Ishwar, that's his full name. Not only Nandi, Nandi meaning he's pervading, he's the Lord of this universe, but the Ishwar bit because he's a part incarnation of Lord Shiva. Then on the second night we did, last night we did the story where Arjun and his family are so lost in their life, I have to say, because of all the family attack. The attacks of demons, prayers, people are plotting against them in different ways. They are advised, go and pray to Lord Shiva and he will give you the weapons you need to protect yourself. He will give you the darshan that you will be able to overcome all the impediments in your life. This morning we continue in our Shiv Puran reading, but in Gita there's a statement he makes that what great people do, the ordinary man will follow. So in many instances when God incarnates, as you get to learn and understand your text and your dharma a little more, why does God do these things? Why does God act out these roles? Because what you see, what you listen to in places like this is what a person might be tempted to say, if he could do it. In simple language, I could do it. If it worked for him, maybe it'll work for me. God doesn't, in Gita, in many texts, he says, I don't need to do these things. I don't need to act out these rules. But you need me to show you what to do. As he does with Arjun. In Gita, he shows him carefully, explains what is Satyuk, what is Kamsik, what is Rajasik, etc. How to pray, how to reach me. And in different ways, he's acting out these roles. This morning we enter where something is going to happen to Lord Krishna. And if, just to remind you maybe what you know or what you don't know, do you know how the story of Lord Krishna ends? Have you ever heard the part where he gets shot in the foot? Durga Rishi in Padma Puran, he comes to look for Rukmini and Krishna in Dwar. And after testing them, giving them a lot of trouble, he makes a statement that whenever somebody prayerful comes to look for him, he will take care of them himself. He's not going to put attendants or servants or whatsoever. So Durvasa Rishi wants a test to see if he will break from that. And Rukmini And Krishna, they attend to this money very diligently. And at the end of it, he says, listen, as your last test, I want you to take fermenti. Fermenti is where in India, and even in home Trinidad, you take gobar and you mix it with leaves and different wood chips and whatever, and you use that as the hawan material. You use that to burn instead of wood. It actually burns quite well, very clean, and from it you get the best bhasma or ashes that people use. If you've ever gotten the vibhuti from the Sai Ashram or the Sai Baba movement, one of the key ingredients in getting that bhasma is burning gobar. If you burn wood, you would notice the ashes have a kind of rough texture. It's greeny, even if you crush it and take it down. But when you look at the vibhuti coming from Sai Baba, it's very powdery, it's silky, smooth. And the only thing that can burn to give it that texture is gobar. So he says, take the fermenti, but instead of preparing now, because what they would do, they would mix it and they would make like big patties, like a big pancake outside there when the sun is hot, and allow it to dry, and it becomes very brittle biscuit, and you have to break it in order to use it. He says, instead of making the biscuit that they might use for fire, take it and bathe your body. I want you now, imagine, this is an emperor, not a king. This man has kings working for him in different districts. And he wants him to bathe in gobar and remain with the gobar on all day. He says, if you do it, you'll get a great blessing. Without a second thought, Rukmini bathes with it head to toe. Happily. She's listening, following the orders of the Guru. Not a second thought. Somebody gives you an instruction, you follow. Krishna now, he does the same, but he did not take off the shoes, maintain the shoes. So he bathed with everything, coated in the same, see face it. When it was done, Durga says, I came here to test you, and you passed. Because you did not scorn, you did not get angry, you did not, and I'm summarizing because he does give them a lot of tests. Imagine they were sleeping. Durga wakes up and he wants to tell them 3 o'clock in the morning, you have to get up and cook for me. They cook the food, they take out the food. I say, okay, I'm feeling sleepy now, I don't want to eat. And leave the food, leave them, I'm going back to sleep. And in different ways, in this course of time, he was really doing it to them. But they did not deviate from the rule of host and hostess. And now when he's talking to them, they follow diligently. And he says, because you have listened to me, wherever you coat the body with the gobar or the fermenting, your body will become like adamantium steel. You will not be, pervious to any attack, arrow, or whatever. So the two of them bowed him, and when they bow, is then Durvasa saw the shoes on his foot. He says, oh Krishna, that ankle did not get that gobar. He says, that's okay. Who went to attack man? He says, but that is your weakness because it is not covered by my words. Your body, your arm, your leg, that will be fine. But if a person attack your ankle, they will be able to penetrate your body and you will be vulnerable. You would not be able to take it out. So remember that. So the trap was laid. Why was this important? Because Krishna realized after he killed Kans and all the different dynasties, family is very big. And the people in his family started to think, well, my uncle, my daddy is the great king, you can't touch me. I could do what I want. The same family that went to become the purifying effect upon you becomes corrupted. And younger ones get very arrogant. So last time when I was talking, I mentioned how Lakshman dies. When Balaram, the big brother, same Sheshnag, Lakshman then reincarnate in, I think in Samba, Puran, he says, Balaram says, in our last life, there's a Ramayana version where Lakshman and Ram get angry with each other. And he says in that, he says, I put a strap on you, next time you come in here, I come in as your big brother. I'm not going to come here as small brother again. In Ram Janam, I came as small brother and I had to listen to you. I had to build fire for Sita Mata, for she to walk through that. I had to go and see her off in the ashram. And I had to see her leave there with big belly, suffer, and I had to go through that listening to you because I use big brother, I have to follow your rules. But when the next time you come, I will be big brother and you will have to listen to me. This is why when they came back in the Christian Janam, Balaram is big, Balaram is older, and it had to happen now that it's time. Balaram and Krishna talk in Bhagavad, and he says, you now know that you have to deal with your own family. Little brother, if you have to finish the job on this earth, the Yadhu dynasty has to be destroyed. If you leave them here and you leave this earth, they will destroy this place. They are puffed up with too much pride. So I have no choice. I have to destroy the whole. Please remember this. Krishna has sons, he has nephews, he has all this relation, but he has to destroy all of them. None must remain. In order for this earth to get a chance, he has to do this work. But he couldn't do the work on his own. Today's discourse deals with how he got that help. Because he had a son, and his son gave him good trouble. There's a whole book behind this boy. His name is Samba. Of all the sons that he had, Samba gave him the most problems. Samba was the one that was so good looking. He started to run down all the girls in the palace. And people started to complain, full of himself. One day it reached to the point, Krishna tell him, you feel you're too good looking, I put a strap on you, you will be riddled, you will be covered with, today's word we might say, psoriasis. In those days they would say leprosy. But imagine a skin ailment, your body is covered with open, leaking, sores, and it's not drying up, it's not healing. So the beauty of your body lost. People scorn you, start to smell with the fluid coming from the body. This fella becomes very instrumental in fixing these types of problems. Because after he got the strap, he went and he asked Narad Muni for help. How to get this sin off my back? I'm sick now. What to do? He says you have to worship Surya. For those people that grew up knowing that on a Sunday morning we do search Puran or offer, how do you offer Surya Dar? You know it had different way to offer Dar. Not all Dar, you're going to go to like this. Let me talk about Dar a little bit. So this fella, he came up with these sciences. He was taught how to do it. So a Surya Dar, you're supposed to put your hand, your elbow straight, two hands up, holding the lota, maybe a little forward so it will fall on you, and you're tipping forward. You must face east. And the reason for that is, let me just say I use a cup. As you're tipping forward, the milk or the water is coming and it's forming a curtain between you and the sun on the horizon. And the prayers come through this curtain, use this curtain, and hit my body. So Narayan Swami is in charge of all problems with your eyes, the skin, the circulation, your heart. So if you have stroke, cholesterol problem, etc., this is why you pray on the Sunday. So he was taught, go and worship the sun. And when you offer the dar so that the Surya, the rays, the radiation must burn your body and dry up your ailments. So he learned how to do that. When you see people doing search Puran and they put in, if you do Satyanarayana Puja or Search Puran and you read how to make the parsad, how do you make the parsad for Satyanarayana Puja? Anybody ever wonder why we just patch the parsad? In some place, like I like white parsad, soft white one, I grew up with it. And then my mother used to say she liked the patch dry one. Anybody like the patch dry one? The traditional now, why do you patch it? Because the correct way to do it is you put, let me just say you get 5 pounds of parsad, let me just say a spoon of bran or whole wheat or some form of that type of bran flakes or whatever you could get. Some people is brine, it's called the white thing. How? No, No, not the Turan. The Turan is something in understand, but we the juice is in a bottle, kind of white.
Barley.
Barley. Some people get the solid barley, they crush it like in your processor or your coffee machine, and you add it. And the reason you're adding these things, if you eat whole wheat or barley or these things, and they will reduce your cholesterol, the quality of the ingredient is what you're offering to the Devi. But when you add the whole wheat or you add the barley, it makes it a little black to brown. It's tacky. So when people develop now the recipe, they started to patch the flour to make it look as if it had the whole wheat in it. That sounds strange, but they just put cherry and sweet rice on it. Yes, good. Obviously it just tastes good. The cherry just make it pink. But for the person who know, let me say, you're doing Shashti Vrat, and you want to please Shashti Mata, the book tell you in every bread how to make the prasad. So in this case now, it tell you, take how you're making the rice, but you're making kheer. Or you just make kheer. Anybody got that how to do that? Rice, the same ingredients, you know, sweet rice, but you don't put water in the pot. Time to boil the rice. You put milk, heat the milk, add the rice, and then you put in sugar, whatever else you just put. And what it does, if you're using the traditional cow milk, God bless you, the fat in the milk, they extract ghee. Sometimes the kheer get brown. You know, like if you put, let me say, molasses in the sweet rice, or you get a little brown color. And depending on the age of the milk, it sometimes get a little pink color. So people now, when they have to use the, let me say, the pasteurized milk, they wouldn't get that effect. So to get the pink effect, this is where they started to put the cherry. But what's the problem with the cherry compared to what you are trying to do? Everything you are using usually is fresh, clean, not preserved. So this is where now, if you are doing like yag like this and you want to do the best, you use fresh ingredients. So if you were to go to Hare Krishna temple, you would see that when they're making the mahanbhog or their sweet rice, they might use fresh fruits like banana in the sweet rice, in the prasad. So we're going to make prasad. When you throw the ghee in the pot, you cut up your pineapple or your banana or whatever, and lay it a little bit in the ghee, and then flour and whatever, so on after. In this way, Samba started to learn the art of pleasing Surya Narayan, Puran, Surya Devi. And everything that we follow today for Surya worship, every time Baba sat down and he chant the Navagraha mantra, the different stotra and everything came from the son of Krishna. What was the problem with this fellow after all this? God bless him, he research Puran, he get through, God heal him, give back his beauty, give back his skin and everything, come back home and continues to give his father trouble. Attitude, behavior, really, really bad behavior. Krishna and his son did not have an answer. But I think this you alone, even Krishna had problems with the church. One time, we reached now in Bhagavad where signs of Kali Yuga is coming. So Krishna calls a big meeting, a big Samba. And imagine we have a big, like let me just say, a temple here, and we lock the door. Everybody inside, we have a heated meeting. So we don't want nobody to walk in. And this is what they did, because some were saying Kali Yuga is not coming. Krishna is saying it's coming. Look up, let us plan, let us prepare. In Kali Yuga, in that section of the Bhagavad, it talks about man's lifespan will start to get shorter and shorter and shorter. Disease will come from all over the place. Food will become harder to get, it will get more poisonous. What will kill the people? The same thing we eat. Lo and behold, that is what we live in today. If we take, for example, in my studies, in time at science, and then I used to run labs when I was working. And at one point I was running a lab with bottled water and Trinidad. So we all buy bottled water. And the funny thing with this is, If they put too much chlorine in it, it makes a cancer-causing agent in the water. You'll never taste it. If this remain in your car and the heat of the sun hit it all day, go and clear the bottle, and you see how the bottle gets a little more soft. The plastic went into the water, and when you drink it, it causes a lot of problems with children, birth defect, cancer-causing agent. And this simple thing, which is so popular, is what kills you. Believe it or not. Add that to any other thing we eat or drink, and what we talk about is coming to pass. What we eat is killing. We know it, I guess we can't help it. All these things started to happen, so they're talking about it, they're arguing in the hall, a lot of argument, the money is getting, they're getting fight against each other, this one, where shut him out. And so they're going, all the children are Krishna waiting outside to hear, children are, they want to know what they're talking about, what's going on inside. Look, Vashish Muni just raised your hand and slapped down. So it was a lot of action. And the highlight was when they break the door, they open the door, and everybody was starting to bolt up. In that heated, you can imagine how they come out of that room, that it was not a good conversation. Samba is now dressed as a girl. Listen to this. This is the son of Krishna. This is a prince, very handsome fella. Suppose anybody say you come from good people, you're supposed to act accordingly. Your father is such a good man, and this is how you will behave. Here will this one come to you. Dress as a girl, put a pillow under the belly. Money. If you are so powerful, you could tell me if I'm having a boy or a girl. And he gets Vashish Muni, Guru of Shri Ram, very, 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 very bad moment, because he was very angry. The patience. Maybe not the different moment the man would have laughed. Maybe. He said, no, you're going to have boy or girl, you'll have a mortar, listen to this, a mortar and a pestle. Mortar and pestle is the thing where we just grind whatever seasoning. So, what will I do with a mortar and pestle? He said, you'll bring an end to your entire family with it. So now the little boy gets serious, they're frightened. They run away. And when they move the pillow, mortar and pestle really on the belly. Metal mortar and pestle. They run by, they didn't go by Krishna, they didn't go by the king, they go on by Ugrasene. Remember Vasudeva and Devaki, mother and father Krishna, Devaki father, Ugrasene, the old king. They run and they say so and so happened, and he said this will kill our entire family. So Ugrasene now gets right decent, and nobody are telling Krishna nothing, keep it a secret, grind it to powder. One, take the blacksmith and let it eat this thing down. If it turns to powder, how will it damage people? How will it cause trouble? Make it in the powder and throw it in a lake. You have a little pond on the side of the house, throw it. That ain't going to cause no trouble like that. They throw it, and the fish start to eat it. And according to Bible, when the hunter went to catch the fish and he fish out the fish, he get a lump of the little metal. Little lumps of metal accumulated in the stomach, and they fashion it into arrowheads. And there the weapon that killed Krishna is new. It now in the form of arrows. Samba is the person who is instrumental in this whole thing. Today, we're going to hear quickly a little bit about him. Everybody, please join your hands as we chant Sumiran before we go forward. Gauri Shankar Pada Kamala Prema Sahita Hiyale Srimad Shambhu Puran Yaki Acharya Shruti Samveda Nani Shiva Samba Sachidanand Nirguna Brahma Vinasari Yagna Sudarshan प्रेम से बोलो महापति महादेव की जय. Please remember, this morning in the car with Alvin this morning we were talking. Please remember, we have to be careful in this thing called Kali. Many times when I go to read it, oh my God, my head is swelling. An overload of information, too much information. I never heard some of these things. I don't know. I love my gods. I'm enjoying it, but I can't remember all this. Please remember, if we continue to spoon feed our people that have a good and bad day, nice and easy. You hear about Shriram going to the forest every day and coming back. But the vast amount of knowledge in Hinduism, you'll never get to reach it. You'll never get to touch it. And for this reason, when now, as I said last time, we have so much internet and Google and information, that when somebody might share something and your child sees it, for example, did you know that depending on the puja, when you have your baby, it is not for decoration, you just draw that mandal, drawing on the baby. The outer part, if I had it, I could show you. The outer part is 4 doorways that the deities enter. Who lives in the north, who lives in the south, who lives in the east, in the west, and you're saying, please sit here. When the Kalsa is in the middle, you have usually 8 petals, but depending on the deity. For example, if you're doing Durga Puja for Durga, it's 5 triangles coming down, and then 5 triangles going upward, and in the middle have 3. Each one of the triangles, whenever you're using Devi for Devi Puja, in order to get the true energy of that prayer, there are different rules that you follow. But if we never discuss these things, you'll never know how to do it better. If we never discuss, for example, in Devi Bhagavad, in the beginning, it says that when you're doing her vrat, when you're fasting for Navratam and you have Devi, do not eat by them. Eggplant, brinjal, do not touch that. Because of the hormone it causes in your heart, when from a lusty perspective, do not entertain that. Just like how we abstain from onion because it has a high amount of zinc. In men it causes testosterone development. You want to settle down and focus on prayers, you don't want to go in a different way. Therefore abstain from onion. In this way, please forgive me if I have overloaded you with information in these 3 nights. I apologize. But the purpose is you have to be able to step up. If we sit down and we only do the bare minimum or little nice morsels of discourse, you would be left in a position where you are never growing. But year after year, year after year, you are not growing. When I leave here today, another Baba will come and he will focus on other things, and that's beautiful. That is wonderful, because a different person's perspective will help me grow. The intention is, by listening to different people, not one person all the time, different people, God bless. You get visits from Swami and Pandits and whatsoever, and you get to hear, oh, I didn't hear that. Oh, I never thought about that. I never knew. And you get to do. And in this way, when you look back at yourself, January to December past, You know what? But this year I learned this, that, the other. In the course of things, children in particular are learning. Principle of Indravan Biharilal Ki. So today now, as we get into our last discourse, Shiv Puran, this is the Uma Sanghita, I think this is the 6th volume in Shiv Puran. We are reading from, doing chapters 1, 2, and 3 in the 3rd volume. This is where Krishna is going. Rukmini there's a son called Pradyumna. He's very, very knowledgeable, very good son. So, there's a story where Krishna is fighting the deer Jamwand from Ramayana. Jamwand, when Sri Ram is getting ready to leave, this is where he tells Hanuman, Baba, you stay upon you. Jamwand came for his blessing, and Jamwand, he says, what do you want? He says, I want to be able to test your strength. Bless me, God, that one day me and you must wrestle. I want to know who is more strong, you or me. So Sri Ram watched him and smiled and said, all right, no problem. Wait for me. One day I'll come and you'll get to test strength. Sri Ram leaves the earth, time passed, Krishna comes on the earth, and somebody had a beautiful gem to summarize. Krishna had to go and look for this. And the gem now is in the cave of Jamwand and his family. So the little child by the entrance to the cave is playing with this priceless gem as if it is just a toy. So Krishna went up to the child to say, please give me back that gem. It's causing trouble. And Jamwand, the protective father, saw a man come close to his young girl. Without warning, rush. He didn't ask who you are. Rush and attack him and start to fight for 10 days and nights now. The two of them going at it, non-stop fighting. When it was done, Jamwand says, because Krishna showed him Sri Ram avatar, shows him his color. He said, Prabhu, I did not know. He said, Jamwand, you're a devotee and you're supposed to see me wherever I am. He said, oh God, Prabhu, today I get a chance and I realize how weak I am after all these years. I wait and I train and I get stronger, look, I get family, I get everything, and I'm still nothing in front of you. Today I have an answer. He says, please accept my gift today. He said, whatever you want to give me, I'll accept it. He said, I have a daughter. Please, Jamwanti is my daughter. Please accept her as a wife. So, Krishna gets married to that girl. Jamwanti goes to live in Dwarka. She sees Rukmini and Satyabhama, the other wife, having children, and they are great. Each one of them have great attitude. The boys are, they're exemplars in terms of politics and all this. So Jamwanti whispers to Krishna, I want a son too, but I want a divine child. I want a child that will become, his name must be immortalized in history. I don't want him to get lost amongst your other children. He said, okay, I can do that. I am going to ask for help. He goes to speak to a Muni by the name of Upamanu, who he's the one who tells him. Remember last time we were reading, he says, Krishna, he's telling Arjuna, in my time when I needed help, Upamanu told me to go to pray to Shiva, and I went there to pray and I got everything I was praying for. So this is that discourse. What did he go to pray for? So he went to meet this guy, and you'll hear what he says in this sloka. Achyutam Keshavam Ramanarayanam Achyutam Keshavam Ramanarayanam Krishna Damodaram Vasudevam Sridharam Madhavam Gopika Vallabham Janaki Nayakam Ramachandravati Achyutam Keshavam Satyabhamadhavam Achyutam Keshavam Satyabhamadhavam Madhavam Sridharam Radhikarantam Indira Mandiram Dekasa Sundaram Devaki Nandanam Nandanam Nandane Vishnave Vishnave Shankare Shankare Vishnave Vishnave Shankare Shankare Rukmini Rami Janaki Janaki Vallavi Vallavi Kandite Ramani Kamsave Vamshini Vamshini Te Namah Achyutam Keshavam Krishna Damodara Achyutam Keshavam Krishna Damodara Sridharam Madhavam Gopika Vallabham Sridharam Madhavam Gopika Vallabham Pura Putraye Makakela Sankaranabhyam Che Vasude Sutta Krishna Senayakam Shivaye Shivaye Vedantam Sadhishidapati Guru Dame Pranava Bhaktana Muniyo This stotra, the Achyutam stotra, that last verse, I salute the destroyer of Kans. I bow to the man who plays the flute. O Krishna, please listen to me. Achyuta, that form of Krishna that is referred to as the person, no matter what the season, no matter what the trouble, no matter what is happening, he does not jib. He is permanent. When you hear somebody call that name, Achyuta or Achyutam, that is what they say. Dear God, no matter what problem, no matter what crisis we're in, you remain steadfast. Help me. Krishna is the story of Krishna going to Upamanyu begins, and Nandishwar is describing how, because he wanted to have this son, he's going, and with folded hands he sat down and he listened to Guruji. Guruji tells him, "O Krishna, listen, I will tell you of how many people go to that form and they pray." And he gives him a long discourse. When you think, yesterday when we were singing Raksha Karo, Chakra Sudarshan Vali, Chakra, spinning Sudarshan of Mahavishnu. Did you know that it is Lord Shiva who makes that weapon? Watch Lord Krishna, listen to all the discourse of Mahavishnu, and you see that Sudarshan Chakra spinning in his hand. There was a demon. There was somebody that needed to destroy, and there was no weapon capable. So Lord Vishnu goes and he sits down, and he collected 108 lotus flowers, and his prayers was dip it in water, different types of holy water, and he would offer it on the lingam, and he was going. So Lord Shiva wants to test Mahavishnu. And what he does is, he says, I'm going to steal one of the flowers. So when Lord Vishnu is not looking, Lord Shiva came and took one of the flowers. So he officially has 107. 106, 107, no 108. Lord Vishnu is panicking because without that 108, he cannot complete his offering. And as I said, when you're doing Shiva Puja, you have to have respect for it. You have to be careful with it. If we were to do the Bilva Ashtakam, the Bilva Ashtakam is a Shiva Puja, Shiva passage, 8 doses, but it talks about the power of the bay leaf, why we put the bay leaf the way it is, what happens if you have holes in the bay leaf, if it's scattered, if it's torn. Dear God, I'm not doing that, I'm putting good one, please accept it in the prayer. But it explains the rules for the runoff, it explains the different stotra, how when you're offering, why, if I were to ask you, Auntie, how to arti the lingam? Remember these little tidbits I'm throwing out for you, eh? How to arti the lingam. Shivratri night comes and you will see the person like this, absent. There's a discourse with Parvati Mata, she's wondering why are you doing it like that? And he tells her, when the person does the arti like this, the light, think what I say, the light is going to reflect upward onto the lingam. That lingam must always have light on it when you have your prayers, when you have Yagna, that diya is supposed to be there constant. Because it is a sin to cause darkness to fall on the lingam. So when the person traditionally, we want to come like this now, when you reach here, assuming this is the top of the lingam, the shadow of the tali is going to fall here. That is wrong. So the person does this way. Always remember that. The lingam is different. How you prepare prasad, how you do your arti, how you walk around it, we put it different. Why do you make a circle when you're doing your arti? Why not do like a square? Why not do side to side or upward or downward or something like that? Why a circle? Because you are doing a shortcut. The correct thing, the circumambulation is what you're mimicking. If the murti was like this, might stand in the middle of the floor and you are going around, the benefit of walking around 3 times, so much janam of sin you are burning away. Every time you circumambulate something, you are asking, dear God, forgive my sin, forgive my sin, forgive my sin. That is what you're doing. So I can't walk around it. But I am, just as Ganesh walked around Lord Shiva, Mother Parvati, I am trying to get that blessing. Please forgive me, please forgive me. This is why it's circle, this is why it's 3 times. For janam of sin. If I did anything this morning I have puja, if my mouth made any sin, if my hands did anything incorrect, or if my thoughts, please forgive me. This is why when I'm really hungry, I say Gayatri 3 times, etc. In this way now, Krishna is sitting listening that Lord Shiva stole the flowers, Lord Vishnu is panicking. And he goes, he says, they call me my Padmaksh. They tell me my eyes are like lotus flowers. I'm going to offer my eye socket, my eyeball to Lord Shiva, but I'm going to finish this prayer. Because the bigger picture, we need to destroy that bad guy. So just as the knife came out of his dhoti and he was about to cut the eye, Lord Shiva appears and he says, no, Vishnu Baba, I who was testing you, I have the flowers, look. I wanted to see how sincere you was, how steadfast your prayers was, and you passed the test. Stop, don't damage yourself. Look the flowers, make your offering. And when he makes the offering, Lord Shiva on his finger makes the Sudarshan chakra. And he says, from today, let this be your weapon and let it represent you. So for many people, like when they're decorating for wedding, you will see them draw the chakra on the wall, meaning Lord Vishnu is here. Lord Vishnu represents here. You sometimes see it in the Indian movies. In this way, he listens again about all the different discourses of people who had problems, and they went and they sat down and they did puja for Lord Shiva. Dear one, you will be free of all the blemishes of old age and death. Whatever desires you have, O Krishna, go and ask him, do his worship without doubt, without fear, without worries that I wonder if it will even be successful. You will remain close to him and he will always protect you. Go. Listening to the instructions of Guru, that same Krishna goes to pray, just as Hiranyakashipu, Nandana, different people had done before. And he sits down and he does the worship of Lord Shiva. And he watches whilst he's doing the job, all the different sadhu, what we are called today, Naga sadhu, the different people. Lord Shiva fasted on the Monday, Somvar day, Lord Shiva's day, and he prayed that, dear Lord, may I have your darshan, may I be able to see your form. I am praying for a child. Let's hear what happens. Jai Bole Baba Tab Sharanam, 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 Jai Ram Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam, Jai Ram Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam, Mahananda Viradeyatam, Shiva Padayakam, Krishna Purana Supratya, Shiva Shiva Ravare Santritam, Jaya Bole Baba Tab Sharanam, Jaya Bole Baba Tab Sharanam, Jaya Bole Baba Tab Sharanam, Jaya Samba Sada Shiva Tab Umapati Mahadeva ki Jai. Upamanyu would come to look for Krishna and give him discourse every day. Whilst he saying his prayers, you know, this person prayed to Lord Shiva and they got through. This person prayed to Lord Shiva and he accepted them. This person is able to get the blessing regardless of who they are. Now in today's society, we look at people and we judge people. Follow what I say, He says, oh Krishna, there was a person by the name of Mahananda. She was a prostitute. She had children for many men, and she was looked upon very badly, very low person. And she thought to herself, nobody has any regard for me. I have made mistake after mistake, but when I got married one time, the husband died, and somebody married me off to somebody else. They told me I have to get somebody else. I am a burden if I remain by myself. Think about the times we are talking about. I can't work, I cannot do certain things on my own. So I have to go and get remarried, and then that person went to one, he died. It is not that I chose to be with different people. Every time I go with somebody new, of course, that individual wants to have a child. So I did my duty, and now I am bad because I am left as a widow, and I'm going, and I have children. Because of that now, the only job she could get was to prostitute herself. And she says that I would not be accepted. People like this cannot enter in the temple at the time. In today's world now, there is a place where women cannot enter. There is normal temple like this, a normal temple, meaning all the murtis are there. But when you have Ganesh Utsav, the Chaturthi, when his prayer is being done, they will tell women you cannot take part in the puja, you have to stay one side. That type of prejudice still exists. So this lady is saying, I am worse than that. I am not able to enter any mandir. But she, O Krishna, sat down and prayed to Mahadev. And Mahadev came and appeared not for her, not in dream, but in her own home. That when people put stigma and put labels on other people, God knows the truth. And even if you have made mistakes, such sinful people can become sinless people in the eyes of Ishmael. Krishna listened ardently every day. As money would come, every day was like a yagna. He waited to hear more and more about Lord Shiva. This here what happens when all the different discourses, 16 months pass. And for 16 months he sat down and did pray. He gave up all the Palestine put us in. And for 16 months he did his prayer fast, listening to the kata, allowing it to enter into his ears. Let's hear what happens. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol. Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol. Jai Jai Radha Shodashi Masa Sadhuva Nara Prapyasi Brahmaneshwarataye Samprapya Akatanam Jai Jai Bhuvala Indriyayate Indra Krishna Kripa Jai Radha. Everybody. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol. Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol. Jabo Namah Shivaya Yogiyaham Mantra Ye Jaye Ham Hari Sarvayate Amrata Divam Mukhi Bhakti Yahe Pradhane Kamarupati Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol. Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol. For 16 months he's chanted Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. He keeps his mind focused. He's listening to the katha. Anytime he's dry and his mouth waiting for more discourses about Lord Shiva, he gets to sit with Guruji. Santoshi Parmeshwar Parvati Darshano Shiva He Shiva He Aya. Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol. Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol. Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. In this way, he listened and he listened. He practiced all the different baths. Like if you're doing Surya Puja, you're supposed to take bale root and you boil it and you offer it in the lota to the murti when you have different ailments. And when you're finished, after bathing the murti with it, just like we do it, the charan take back some and mix it in the liquid, you bathe with that after your prayer is done. Usually in Hindu prayers, you have to have a bath. If we're in India, you could do what prayers you want. Afterwards, go and bathe in the Ganga. Remove the sin, remove the sin, remove the sin. So, in our Western way, we simulate a bath. You would see they bathe the murti, before the people get married, you would bathe them with milk, etc. And in different ways, cleanse the individual. Always cleanse it. They do it for funeral. Before we burn the body, we have to wash the body with milk, dahi, and different ingredients before we give the body to the fire. In this way, even Krishna would bathe. And after 16 months, Lord Shiva became very pleased. And it was time now for him to appear. And for the benefit of all, Krishna gets the darshan of Lord Shiva and Goddess Parvati. Lord Shiva is very happy with him, and he appears in that form of Chandrasekhara with the moon. He says, "Oh Prabhu, you have come upon this earth to rid bad. Why are you praying like this? Oh unborn, imperishable Lord, what are you praying for?" Krishna says, "Prabhu, you see those two boys you have there? Krishna, Kartik and Ganesh? I want to have one like them. I would like to have a son that will serve my purpose, help me in my work, and remain very immortal, very popular." Lord Shiva looks at him and he says, "Listen, you will need 10 sons to do what you are asking for. You would need not one, but many. If I were to give you normal children, with normal abilities and energies and so on, you would have to remain upon the earth for a very long period of time." Nandishwar says, "Listen, Mahadev bless Krishna that day that I, Shiva myself, will incarnate as your son. I will be born as Samba. I will be very powerful and very effective in doing the bidding that you need to be done. And one day I will incur a shroud that will bring and will start the end of your janam, your leela. I will be the person that will pivot the story, to close the story." Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. At that moment, Krishna bows to him, he's happy, and not too long after, upon returning home, this baby is born, Samba. And when it came for Kali to come, the arrows, the bad arrows are made, and all the heroes in that part of that Bhagavad discourse, Krishna says, "Let's empty Dwarka, let's empty the city, let's evacuate everybody, all the older people, the ladies, get them to Prabhas where Arjuna and Yudhishthira are." And all the men remained in Dwarka, emptying the city. And they started to drink liquor. All the Bhoj, the Vrishni, the different branches of their families. And under that drunken stupor, they started to argue about who is greater, who's the bigger warrior, who did more. And they started to get very, very aggressive with one another. Weapons now, drag. I'll show you who's more. And when Krishna, remember last time we talked about blame, false blame, Krishna had watched the moon for the Ganesh Jayanti that is coming. He looked at that moon and he took that blame till the day left the moon. When he says, "Brothers, please, please, please don't fight like this. We are family, we are blood. Don't, all of us, desperados, great soldiers, great warriors, we are all experiencing war. Don't fight each other. If you use those weapons that you have, those arrows, we are going to perish." And the people, the family, turned from fighting each other, so they turned. "You are against us, Krishna. This is the leader now. This is the one they fight all their life for. You are very menacing. You are always wicked, doing something. You're planning and plotting for we to fall. Today we will deal with you." And the one person that stands up for him day and then, if you ever get the chance to read this, I always cry when I read it. Balram says, "Oh Kanha, move back," and he picks up that big plow he has. He says, "I came here as big brother to protect you, and if it is the last thing I am about to do, I am not going to let them touch you." And in that moment, the two brothers stand against the entire family, and the battle ensues. And Balaram takes every one of them. Samba dies, Pradyamuna, all of them, all, the entire land, gone. They walk out, the two brothers walk out of Dwarka. Their body is drenched in the blood of their father. And Balaram says, "Oh, little brother, it is time for me to go. Dwarka is about to sink, and your time on this earth is done. Know what you're doing." Now big brother talk, you have to listen. Balaram goes to the water here on the banks of Dwarka and gives up that form. He says, I return to Vaikuntha and I'm waiting on you. Krishna did not want to heed, he did not want to listen. The Katha says he's dragging his foot like a little boy, kicking stones, he doesn't want to go, but when Balaram talks, he has to go. And when he jumped on the chariot to go, he's going to where Arjuna is. Somewhere along the roadway, he says, I smell tulsi, let me come off. So he came off in nowhere, no wilderness, bush. And he walks where the Yagna, because there's a deal between him and this Yamuna, the younger sister of Yamraj. She had to be there when he's born, on Krishna Janam night when she was raising, and now he's getting ready to go and he has to go to touch her before he goes. So when this little rivulet, this little stream of the Yamuna was flowing, he walks in the bush, imagine tall bush, and he just goes. The charioteer finds he's taking too long. But what Krishna did, he walked into the bush, found the Yamuna, and he found this huge peepal tree, and took the foot, and he's playing, wading in the water. Remember in Ramayana, Sri Ram was in the bush, hiding, and he took the arrow and he shot Bali. When Bali is lying on the ground and his life is ready to come out, he says, don't worry, you will get your justice. And that Bali is reborn as Jara, a hunter at the time in the forest, and he's in the same position. He saw the black foot, the dark foot is playing, and he thought it was a deer mouth, wading in the water, and listening alone, fired the arrow, and it caught the ankle of Krishna on the right foot. But now, remember what we talked about at the beginning, the ankle, he cannot pull out the arrow. So he's bleeding profusely. And he leans up under that peepal tree. Why do you use peepal leaf in puja? The wood, the leaf, why is it holy? Why do ladies walk around that tree and tie strings and so on, praying for different things? Because the blood of Krishna is absorbed by the tree. The power of Krishna remains in and on that tree. That is a very funny tree. When you have to cut that tree, you have to say prayers and do how and otherwise. When you cut that tree in bad month, you are going to get damaged. Book it. If you happen to have one, be very careful with it. Know how to cut that tree. Otherwise, people leave it to grow. But the problem, the root is damaged foundation and so on. It's very funny. It's a funny plant to have. Krishna leans back against the tree and is about Lord Shiva. Brahma comes to meet him there. And when the charioteer comes, Prabhu, why are you bleeding? What is this? The hunter, he comes into his chest. He says, no, don't cry. Don't look at me like that and feel like you killed me. No, this is karma. This had to happen. You're doing more work. Come back into me. Never to born again. But it was that same Bali. That same Bali is reborn to finish his work. The chariot that they were on had to go back to Vaikuntha. The charioteer sees his vehicle. He says, you leave, don't study me here, leave me here. You go and tell Arjuna, inform the Pandu that I am born, I am no more. The story is finished. Let me just say, I am dying. I am giving up this form and I am leaving. Tell them to take care. Vindravan Viharilala. Yeah, when that is done and Krishna leaves the world, some texts tell you he ascends the heaven, some tell you he went into the water of the Yagna. When it is done, that is where you have Gita Mahatyam. Gita Mahatyam, or the greatness of the Bhagavad Gita, is where Mother Earth sees Krishna leaving the earth now. This is where we now talk about happen, and his form is leaving. Imagine the planet and he going back to Vaikuntha. And Mother come quick in the cow form, and she said, but I told you to come to help me. If you leave now, everything will go back. Let me just chant 2 verses from that Gita Mahatyam, and I'll explain one thing about it for you. Put your hands together as part of our prayer. We end with our Gita. Every time we have Yag, we do this as a means to get salvation, to get blessing. Calmly, let me pray. He tells her mother, what is your problem? She says, in this earth where Kali Yuga is starting now, How will a person be able to do devotion, bhakti, and they're full with all the different worldly life, the parabdha karma? How is it going to happen? Parabdham bujam mano he gita vyasarasara samukhasa sukhilo karmanu paletyat. Don't engage in the performance of their worldly duties. That person who studies, recites, reads the Gita, they become free. He is truly going, but when I say he, I mean people, he or she, he is truly happy in this world as they are not bounded by karma. Mahapapa dipapani Gita dhyanam karoti chet kvashchit sparsham na kurvanti nalani dhalam ambhavet. Just as water does not stain the lotus leaf, even so the person's sin, the past karma, does not taint them when they regularly read the Bhagavad Gita. He goes on to talk about why we charhavi the book, why we use it. Vrindavan he says, I live in that book. That is my home. When you lift that book and you are doing your puja, you're moving into your home. Baba, what to carry one of this. I'm blessing the car, what to do, carry one of this. And the desk, what to do, carry one of this. Why? He says, wherever this book is, I am there. Wherever I am, or the devatas or the devis, they have to come there. And bad things have to go. This is why people always fuss about this text. Think about all the different texts we have. Why this one? Because it is him. When the person says, Krishna Arpan, I gave this in charity, you are giving him in charity. This is why we do Gita Path. Pustak or book down. Everybody clasp your hands and do one verse and then we will conclude. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah Yagya Shishta Shena Santo Muchayante Sarvakil Kavishyaha Bhunjate Te Tvam Papaye Panchatattva Matya Karnatam Krishna 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 Tam Govindaya Namo Namah. The virtuous, listen to this verse, I'll tell you why right now. The virtuous person who partakes of what is left over after a year, they are absolved of all their sin. Those sinful people, however, who only cook for the sake of nourishing their body alone, they don't pray over the food. They don't say, God, you touch this food, God, bless this food. That person is as if they are eating the sin with every mouth full of it. Vrindavan Bihadilava Puja, chapter 3, verse 15. The virtuous person gets to eat the prasad. This is why, for the ladies, it is paramount when you are cooking the food for the prayers. You are making the most important part of that puja. Many people envy the opportunity to sit for the prayer or to hit the ganta or whatever it might be. But the person who is really doing the seva is the cook. The person who is cutting up the takari, the person who is making this, that not only the God is going to be, but the people will be. It is as if I am serving the different devatas that are here. These people that sweat, literally sweat, to cut up this takari, prepare it in whichever way, and then cook it. But you did not taste it. Think what I say. You did not taste it. God came inside of your head, nose, hand, and said, you know what? This look like it have enough salt. This look like a bread. How you do that? It remains a mystery. Think about what I say. We go to school, we get a cookbook, it will tell you how to cook a small potato. And we still get that wrong. We still make mistakes with that. You'll hear this salt is not as salt, depending on the quality of the salt. So I'm putting a spoon, a tablespoon, whatever, and it still may not taste as much, you might have to put more. Now, 20 pounds or whatever, 10 pounds, whatever, no taste, but it comes out perfect. And the key to it is the person. That person could have dirty thoughts, dirty ways, and that will be reflected in the food. Part of our dharma is when you're cooking food, you are cooking for devotees. You are cooking for people as if God. In our discourse for these 3 nights, we've heard that Lord Shiva came as a bull, Lord Shiva came as a hunter, and then Lord Shiva came as the son of Krishna as a little boy. A troublesome, not a normal little boy, a troublesome, a terror. But all was Lord Shiva. You're cooking for the 3 of them. And the person who has the opportunity. In India, it is not like what we have here. We are begging you to come and cook. We are begging you to come and help me wash the beds. Please, please, as if you're doing something for me. Think what I say. You're doing something for me. You're helping me point it out. The truth is, in India, in the ashram, people put down their name and they beg when they will get to cook. Because that type of seva gives you the blessing that this puja cannot give. Just think what I say. When hungry people come and they line up, and we are talking about 10 to 50 people, we're talking about hundreds, and when one finishes, next batch, constant. You will see it in the Sikh temple, you will see it in the Muslim, you will see it in the Hindu, likewise. Feeding those hungry people is where you walk the walk. That is what you call true seva. And when you get the opportunity, Auntie, you mean I can help you with the rice today? Auntie, you mean I will get to help you turn the pot for the parasat today? I would like to do that. Then you're doing it for it. But if you are truly just the guest, if you only want to be the guest and remain and stay, then you are just what I said, you're stagnant. I didn't say you have to be the best cook. Leave that for Pandit, leave that for Auntie Meena, leave that for the other leaders. But I want to help. Start humble. I've gone to plenty temple and oh God, it is how we're in that kitchen. She will go to big pump. He doesn't have that. You know how much time I do in Bandara, we have to stop the press, or tell them stop busting the press. I really not in the kitchen. But if you do it correct, you'll get more blessing in that kitchen than you can do by any bead. Because when you're finished, Auntie Meena, I hope you're teaching your children, these young children, how to bog lagawi. Bog is the food lagawi, give it to the fire. How to take a little bit more slump. If we just a simple method, guide for yourself. Dear Lord, please accept it. You touch it first. You eat first, and then we go eat after. And you just burn it in the fire. That is our tradition. That is where the food becomes blessed. And it is for that reason. If you come to prayers and you taste the chana and whatever recipe you make, it might taste one way, a little bit good for you. Then you don't have, but both are functional. We say, a normal wedding, a caterer cook, but you know they are fighting the fire. Maybe say the people come from a different race or whatever. And they cook the food, the recipe looking the same, you know, but it never tastes the same. Prayers food have a little some magic in it, they have something. And anybody who has custom going to prayers would know what I say. Now, if that has to continue, parents, today I am begging all you, please teach your children, get up. One asks Pandiji what we could do. Before them sheep, we could, in this case, vacuum. We have to put sheep on the time for after work done. But don't grow your children. When we come, we sit down like guests. Then you're robbing your children. What a temple is supposed to be, you come to serve in your house and live. If you are doing no serving, you waste your time. God's supposed to come and He's supposed to accept what we have. So we present food, we present prasad, we present these things to God. God's supposed to say, thank you very much, good. We're supposed to get up and say, you know what? Next week when all this sweeping out, maybe we painting, maybe we wiping down, whatsoever, I would like to come. And if I could get to wipe that murky, I would like to do it. If I could get to wash the clothes, Auntie, I don't want to do it, me and her. But I don't teach me. How often do they do that? Once in a way. This isn't much to maintain. But you use your temple, you use this group to get your sinful ways, all the sickness, all the trouble, get it off your back. You will start to see blessings. You know what we just do? When we're young, we don't have time. And when we have the time, now we retire and we reach that age, oh, Pandit, I can't lift the bucket. I can't make. So when is the time? When will you find the time? This comes down to your decision making. God gave you the time. He gave you the place. He gave you the circle. What you do with your time, this is what you have to accomplish, Yagnas. Trust me, all of you have to die. And when you reach, you'll have to say, I gave you 50 years, 60 years, 70 years. What did you do? Well, Pandit, on a Sunday, I used to make time to write down that note. That was my Seva. Every week I had to go and carry flowers for that lady. That's my job. That's my prayer. That is me. I plant flowers in my yard. Not only watch it and say, but it's looking nice. I plant flowers to bring flowers for this lady. I had a wonderful semester this year in school. I have to say thank you. Nobody had to know where to win. This is where you start to get honest. Stop fooling yourself. Could I do better? Yeah. I sure if you're ready to do it. Then drive on the Harilala King. At this point, let me take a pause. I've done my beta. And I would like to pass the mic to Amiji, and then we'll go forward from there. Sitaram, everybody.
Durga Mata ki Jai. Let us all cast our hands, close our eyes, focus that mind upon that form of Bhagavan Sri Krishna Supreme. Hari Om. Namo Vijnana Rupaya Paramananda Rupini Krishnaya Gopinathaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Maruda Stunavanti Divyai Savena Verai Sangha Pradakramopanishadai Gayantyam Samaga Dhyanam Vastitargatena Manusa Pashyantiyam Yoginam Yasyantam Navino Sura Surgana Devaya Tasmai Namo Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Principal Vasudeva Bhagavan ki Jai. Vyas Maharaj, Pandits, Shrota, the Shrota who said before, all devotees. One thing I must say, next time I see a flyer saying Gyan Yagna Panaji, believe me, I will look for your name. The next thing is, sitting here, as you have just said, really my mouth is dry. I'm looking for more. Nevertheless, I want to say thank you. And if anyone or even myself should leave here and that thing called Abhiman should remain with me, then we really need some licks. Prem se bole Vishnu Bhagavan ki Jai. I could continue talking, but I will take this opportunity. Since the President is not here, I will call upon the Vice President to say a few words and both of us.
Sitaram everybody. Vyashri Pandit Keshav, Guruji Pandit Sundra, Pandit Dennis. I want to begin by thanking you guys for everything that you've done for these past 3 sessions of Yagna. I'm going to be very brief because I want to thank first all members of the Deepening, everyone, all the members. Thank you for your efforts, your undertakings, your preparation, your time and energy. Thanks to the musicians for providing accompaniment for Baba for the 3 sessions. And thanks to the committee members and the executive board for supporting this event. And on behalf of the president, our sincerest gratitude to each and every one of you. Jai Sitaram.
For my part, as I've gotten to know everyone in the Durga, the first person I want to say thank you to, who really introduced me to everybody here, is Auntie Mina. I was reading a Yagna, and I got a message from the podium, but halfway type, all about time. So I text back and said, excuse, I don't understand a word you say. I don't know who he is, but please call me. And I think I called or she called somebody. And she says, my name is Nina, and I'm from Maryland, and I like how you read and enjoy. But this is in the height of COVID. There was no chance of travel or anything like that. I think I lost the lady number 2. And it so happened that my good friend, Shiva Maharaj, is this guy from Trinidad. Johannesburg is a bit violin and flute and very versed in music. And we were supposed to go to be like Pandit Nisha. I don't know if we were making Pandit Nisha, but yeah. So they were making their arrangement, and I was supposed to just go with them and read. And something happened, and the guy's family and says, I don't think we could go again, I'm going to go Washington. And I called Auntie Mina and said, I remember you, and I remember you have a temple. I don't know the name of the temple. I don't know what is the state of the temple. Maybe people are nice, it is vulgar, whatever kind of people. You don't know nothing. And Auntie Mina says, hold on, going to make a few calls to the committee. I don't know who is the members of this committee. Till now, I understand now you're vice president. God bless all of you. Auntie Mina, thank you for this opportunity that you have arranged. I said it last time, and I say it again. I feel like I'm talking. Last time we sat down and we couldn't talk. God bless you. See that food all in the plastic. But you're good, they can pray. I'm trying to keep myself a cup down with me. And I look for food, I get down tomorrow. And then pack me up to go to the hotel. It really was too short. But I promise you next time God's will and I could come on your side, I will spend a little more time. I will make me time to do it. Then I'm the Sabi called me. That was kids. I don't know this lady, and this lady had been laughing all around like what people always say. But God bless for the little exposure and get it all. As pundits, we was made really good and bad also. Some people don't know how to speak up pundit. Some people don't know how to receive pundit and don't understand the rule. There are some people who really believe a penny in an envelope. So how you make out, how you receive, I don't care. These the envelope. As you should maybe pundit them because of that home Baba, they might tread careful and not want to say that. I going home now, so I can say. People think that this is everything. Remember, when you give, it can be $1, it can be whatever inside this envelope. That person is supposed to feel it. Your mind is small. You see how that lady handled that? With love. Oh God, I appreciate that more than a lot more in that end. Because I'm telling you, if I put, imagine, I give you, and I say, here, bro. It could be what inside the envelope, on the dance, if you appreciate this respect. Respect is, it works both ways. It goes both ways. And when you want love and you want to have that type of relationship with your Baba, that listen, I'm in trouble and I need you now. You need to have that type of relationship with your funding. If, let me just say, imagine the daughter and daughter-in-law going to make baby 3 o'clock in the morning. If you are not friendly with Pandit Dennis, you feel you could wait here at 3 o'clock in the morning to say, please open your book. Be frightened. Be frightened. Most of the time, the patra matter, 3 o'clock in the morning, she is going to make the baby, let me be honest. But you know what? I still good when I talk to Pandit Dennis, still calm me down. I am panicking right now. He will just give me 2 months ready. And in a calm way, I will feel like, all right, go talk to him. You see, when you have that, know that wherever you did, God did. So you have an opportunity to build that relationship. And when people have a perception of you that is a worker, not for nobody to see, you're doing it for nobody, whatever you do, ladies, sometimes in templates have good picture. And you have to remember what you come here to do, to please that lady. And if 2 sheets or 3 floor, keep it calm, keep it comfortable, work together. Keep your head down. You do it for she, not for nobody else. Yes, sometimes there's only one group of people. That's not the story. One little small group of people working hard, walking on the liver stream, right? You're blessed. Not everybody blessed like you. And when God started to manifest and work in your life, you will reap the reward. He wanted you to do that. If it wasn't so, you would not do it. You will not be in a circular temple like this. So, everybody, I just want to say on behalf of my wife and myself, it was really nice being here. I don't think I wasted my time coming. And I personally don't mind. You see the small crowd we have? I get to talk here, I get to meet you. And next time you will have more people and I done business who come, they will benefit, but I enjoy the little soup. It has good when crowds. The pundits only look for big crowd, then the small pockets of Hindus will suffer. Then the young people in small, not the popular area of the Hindu people, you will be in trouble. And you will end up with some kind of Hindu people, not be good. Again, everybody, Auntie Nina, God bless you always. Thank you for every kindness, every hospitality, and love your family. God bless you, and you're my sweet husband. Everybody, thank you for everything. You going to sing? But the Dennis give you another blessing now. I say to you, so we go. I don't let him know. You is the future, man. We have to support you. And when we're going to conclude, I would like everybody to just come up and receive a little Ashram, a little blessed rice and so on.
प्रेम सुर श्री गजानंद स्वामी की जय, मापति महादेव की जय, नो दुर्गा जगन्नाथ माता की जय, व्यास महाराज की जय. Panji, again, thank you very much for the opportunity to say just a few short words this morning. First of all, again, to echo all the sentiments that have been shared here this morning, I'd like to thank the executive members as well as all of you and each of the core members of this month for putting together such a beautiful yagna and allow me the opportunity to participate in such a beautiful work. And I'd like to say a special vote of thanks to Pandit Sarjaji for allowing me the blessing and the opportunity to lead and guided puja for the last 3 sessions. And also again, another special heartfelt thanks to our Vyasji, Keshava and his Dharmapatni. Thank you very much for coming, leaving the comforts of Trinidad and everything that you have at your disposal there to come and compromise almost and being here and may not having certain things readily available that you used to. We thank you very much for leaving that comfort and that luxury to come and expound so much Gyan, so much knowledge to all of us, and to again inspire our devotion to take a step closer to Bhagavan. Panditji elaborated on so many things, and if I were to try to pick one thing to talk about, again we would be here till probably this evening, if not further. One thing that Panditji had said that it is only by Bhagavan's grace that we were able to be put in the circumstances to allow us to do a little bit of Seva, to then later hopefully reap the benefits. There's a beautiful bhajan. It says, "Mera aape ki kripa se sab kaam ho raha hai." Anything in my life, Prabhu, is only done by your grace. Karte ho tum kaniya mera naam ho raha hai. It is by your grace and your doing it, your name, is anything in this world possible. But yet it is me that is glorified. It is a humbling message to us to remember that we are not the doer. We are just the puppet. Bhagavan is the puppeteer. He's pulling the strings. Last night, Panditji and I, as well as our families, we had a little bit of a discussion here, and we said we think we have a plan, but really it's Bhagavan that has the master plan. And that's such a beautiful and humble reminder to all of us. Bhagavad Gita, again, Panditji very, very beautifully reminds us, Karma nivar karaste ma paleshu kadashna ma karma bal hetu bhur mati sagasva karmani. Bhagavan Sri Krishna tells Arjuna that you are entitled to perform your actions, you are entitled to perform your duty. However, do not make the fruits of your labor the causation of your labor. So don't look for the fruits, as Panditji again was saying. Just come and do quietly. The purpose that we have this establishment is to serve Dharma, to bring us closer to Bhagavan, not further away. To bring us closer as a community, as a family, not further away. Panditji, again, you spoke about so many beautiful lessons. I will leave it at that for this morning, and I hope that we will remain in touch. I know we've exchanged contact, and I look forward to learning more from you and again engaging in satsang with you again in time to come, whether in this area, nearby, or next time I'm in Trinidad, I will look for you. With this being said, have a blessed week, everyone, and again, thank you very much for your time, energy, patience, and your bhakti bhav that you brought here and offered here this morning. Prem Saraswati Vyas Maharaj ki jai, Satya Sanatan Dharma ki jai.
At this time, I would ask Alvin to give a few words. Yes. Supreme devotees, again a very cordial welcome. There is a whole saying, too much of one thing is not good, but too much of thanks is something that you cannot get enough of. And the vote of thanks given already by different individuals, this is just to culminate on that. A lot of times there are a lot of contributions made and it's generalized, and sometimes it's important to identify the individuals so they're reminded that their contribution is valued, and also that they will continue to inspire others to do the same. So with that being said, for those who prepared all pujan, prasad for the 3 days, the srotas, on the first night we had Chinese 2 kids, and when I say Chinese, not Chinese, that's just a nickname. Both of them sat down very adamantly and performed puja. And Saturday night, Auntie Lorita, and again Sunday morning. It's one of the things that, most people don't rush to do it. So when we have people who volunteer to do it, it's important to identify that they have taken the time to prepare themselves mentally, physically, and spiritually to come and join with us. To Sandra, who from day one, helping for everything, Auntie Pamini, my mother-in-law, helping preparation for the Yagna, to Kapil Mira, to all the ones who came and participated in whatever way, Auntie Tara, each and every one.
that came to bring this to success. And it gives a sense of unity once again, a sense of pride, a sense of humbleness as well. Panditji, we've had many Pandits came and blessed Durga Devi Mandir, and of course, like you said, many will come after you. But it is indeed our pleasure to let you know that we ask the Divine Mother Adi Shakti, Durga Ma, and Saraswati Ma, that they reside both on your right and left side to guide and protect you for your days ahead. And may you continue to give your discourse in a manner that is absorbed and taken back home that we can put into practice. And one last thing I would like to say, when if somebody asks you, where did you go this weekend? You just tell them you went to your mandir. Because Durga Devi Mandir is everybody's mandir. You'll hear sometimes you went to this person's mandir and that person's mandir. And that is such a misconception. The mandir does not belong to anybody and belongs to everybody. So if somebody said, I heard you went to a Yagna, which mandir did you go to? So I went to my mandir. The name was Durga Devi Mandir. And you can go to your mandir, it will be Brahma Vidya, Pita Mandir, you can go to anywhere. But when you feel that sense of ownership and that sense of you belong, you will realize that this is truly the house of God. So days ahead, that remaining in 2022, we ask Adi Shakti Jagatani Ma to continue to guide and protect us, that we all come together as one and make wonderful things happen, not only in our mandir, but all the mandirs nearby and around. If anyone's name was missed, it's not intentional, but it's always a wonderful opportunity to give thanks to where thanks is due. And with this, I thank you again and again for coming and joining with us and making this a wonderful success, and I turn it back over to Panditji.
So we're going to stand now, we're going to do Ashram parts. This is where we stand the Shiva, Hare, Shiva, Rama, Sukhi, Prabhu. Everybody stand up, here. This prayer says, this sutra, Shiva Ram Sutra, just in case you didn't know what it meant. Oh Lord Shiva, the last line, Shiva Hare Vijayam Kurume Varam. Lord Shiva, make me victorious. Lord Shiva, make me happy, blessed and prosperous. So we'll do the Ashirvad part and then the sprinkling water and all that. Then we'll do Arti and then we'll close up. Baba is going to help sprinkle this Ashirvad amongst all our people, and I pray that after all that we talked about this morning, that you as an individual heal in your life. Bless you. I won't have anybody. That what you are praying for, may you be able to realize that. Shiva Hare Shiva Rama Sake Prabhu Trivirata Parivarana He Vibhu Ajajanishwar Yadav Pahimam. Everybody, Kamalalochana Namadayanihi Padaguru Gajarakshaka Gopati Shivatano Bhava Shankara Shiva Hare. Everybody. Sujana Ranjana Mangala Mandiram Bhajati Te Purusha Paramam Param Bhavati Tasya Sukham Paramam Bhutam. Everybody. Shiva Hare Vijayam Guru Mevaram Jaya Yudhishthira Vallabha Bhupati Jaya Jaya Sajita Punya Payunidhe Jaya Kripa Maya Krishna Namostute
Shiva Hare Vijayam Kurumevaram
Shiva Hari
Vijayam Kurumevaram
Shiva Hari
Vijayam Kurumevaram.
We continue to sing as we do Arti. Members of the Group. You all are going to sing the Arti for me, please. So fun. Karpura Gauram Karunavataram Sansara Saram Everybody, for 1 second, concentrate your mind, calm down your mind as we are about to close the Lord. As we bring the curtain down on our Yagna, as Baba will do Visarjan shortly, and Kalsa is going to be lifted. As we conclude, we do so and we ask you from the bottom of our heart to allow ourselves to be separated from your place. From this Yagna Shala tomorrow, we may not be here. And in that way, if you are not here, if you are not in praise mode, if you are not doing puja, please don't allow anything bad to happen. Today, as we conclude our prayer, we do so with your permission. We ask you for your choices, blessings, and your grace for those that are here, and our members and loving community that, for whatever reason, could not be here. Today, as we conclude our puja, dear God, if we made any mistakes, please forgive us. But give us the blessing, for the good that will come from this night of puja. Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu Tvameva Vidya Dravina Tvameva Tvameva Sarva Tvame sarvam mamade Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Prem se Brahma Pati Mahadeva ki jai, Pavan Sut Hanuman ki jai, Shri Adi Shakti Mata ki jai, Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai, Satya Sanatan Dharma ki jai, Jai Jai Sitaram. Sabko Sitaram, everybody. Sitaram, everybody. Sitaram.